Hello, my name is Becky and I'm a first participant at Plumstead Manor School. I teach science and my specialism is physics. I wanted to share with you all the remote learning I've been doing with my students and how I've been doing it and my tips and hints. Firstly, I am going to discuss how I got Microsoft Teams set up. Then I will talk a little bit about my lessons and the routines that I have been doing before I move on to the assessment for and of learning that I've managed to do in my online lessons. And then I'll talk to you a bit about recording your lessons, how to do it and where those go. Then I want to talk to you a little bit about how I've been working with other people in my school. And then finally I want to talk to you a little bit about the career sessions that I've managed to run online while the schools have been closed. So first of all, at Plumstead Manor, we use Microsoft Teams. You might have a different system running, maybe you use Google Meet. And if you do, hopefully some of this will be useful to take away. Maybe not the technical stuff, but some of the stuff I'm going to mention later, so don't let it put you off. But if you have Microsoft 365 already in your school, then all of your students have a login for this, and all of the staff will have a login, and it's something that you will mostly already be able to use and have set up. The first question I had to ask myself was to Zoom or not to Zoom, and I'm actually using Zoom now, and I do like Zoom. I think the quality of the call on Zoom is much better, but you have to pay a £15 or something a month membership to be able to record, and recording is pretty much essential for online lessons. So it's up to you if you want to do that. Also, it's up to your school if they allow you to use Zoom. Our school actually stopped us using Zoom for the children because it was deemed insecure. So check with your school first before you decide what platform you want to do your online lessons on. The second thing is know your admin. At the beginning, I struggled quite a little bit about how to set up online lessons because no one else was doing it in my school. And actually I got the idea from my friend who works as a teacher in Italy, and they were running online Zoom lessons, and I really wanted to do the same for my own students. And yeah, I looked up Microsoft Teams. I knew that we had it, and I knew it was a really nice way not only to set up meetings but also to have group chats, and these have actually been really beneficial for my students. So yeah, know your admin, get them to set up a team for you. If you don't have if your admin allows you the right to set up a team, you can create a team here using this button, but I had to have my admin set up a team. So I got them to set up a team. You can then go to these little meatballs here where you can get linked to team. When you get the link to your team, you can email this out to anyone you want to join the team. Then when they join, you can approve. You can also approve like lots of students at once, which is quite useful and a nice management of your time. You can add students if you want. If you know there's certain students that would benefit from you adding them to the team, you can do that, but that would pretty much take you forever. So it's a really nice way to do it. You can do lots of stuff, and pretty much Google is useful to, and YouTube is useful to figure out the ins and outs of Microsoft Teams. But your admin will probably have the rights to most things. So find out who they are in your school and send them an email. The next thing that you're going to want to do is merge your classes. So I don't know if every school will have this, but generally if you have Microsoft Teams, you probably have a team set up for each of the classes that you teach. And I mean, for me, this seemed a little bit pointless because I teach about 3 Year 10 classes, and there's also children that I don't teach that I knew that wanted to join my online lessons. So Obviously, you don't want to teach 3 classes or more at once. So a really nice way to do that is just to sort of merge all the students that you know would benefit from these lessons into one team. And that's when I created this team, which is called Science Intervention. Quite an important thing is to make sure you can monitor what's been said in your team and what is said in the chat before you join your online lesson and after you join. So if you don't set up a team, that's really difficult to do. But if you do set up a team, you can manage everything that they say, you can delete comments. And yeah, it's a really nice way to monitor. It's not like, it doesn't take that much time because they don't put loads and loads of stuff on it. It tends to be quite respectful, and yeah, it's just a nice way for them to ask questions. I had a really cool question with a student asking me, how is it that you can hold your breath? And other students commented and put articles and different things. So it's a really nice way to keep up the chat and the momentum. The next thing you want to do is advertise, and advertise really well and continuously. You have to put yourself in the shoes of a parent or a student and just think about the vast amount of emails that they will be receiving with work, with lessons, and a lot of your emails will just fall through the cracks. So continually advertise using this link to your team. And also when you schedule your lessons using this calendar function, you can get a link to that meeting as well. And what I tend to do is send that out every week. So you need to continually advertise your lessons because they will forget. So yeah, this is my point here, schedule in advance. So using your calendar function, you can schedule your online lessons, and I would schedule these. I do mine on the Monday beforehand, but you could also do them on the Friday. So you have them for the week ahead, and you can email them out in time, and then you can also send round a reminder on the day with a link. And that's really just to help students organise themselves. And yeah, it's a really difficult time for both students and parents at the minute, and just that little bit extra help goes a long way. When you are in a lesson, they're quite easy to use. You can show or not show your video, you can mute or unmute yourself and other participants, and you can share your screen, and then you can hang up and end call. And you also see here, normally there's a little button when you start to record. So that's the kind of ins and outs of Microsoft Teams. And yeah, next I'm going to talk about my lessons. And at the beginning, my lessons have improved greatly just by learning from the students really and from myself. And yeah, I would say now I'm quite happy with them. At the beginning, I wasn't sure what I was doing, or could the students see this or could they not see it, but it just takes practice and it just takes time. One thing that is really important is to keep them at the same time each week and on the same days. And this allows the students, even they usually forget which science it is, but they know at 2 o'clock there'll be a science lesson and I should be there. So I keep mine from 2 till 3 p.m, which is quite a good time. And they're on Tuesdays for biology, Wednesdays for chemistry, and physics are on Thursdays. And I keep them at the same time each week. And yeah, it's a really nice way to stick to the routine. And I have routine throughout the lesson as well. I start them 5 minutes before. I wouldn't start earlier because that's just more work for you. But starting 5 minutes before gives the time for the children to organise themselves. When you start them 5 minutes before, I have a little slide like the one here. You'll see that I have the information that they need to know. So you need to tell them that the lesson is going to be recorded. And remember that they'll be joining at different times. So just saying to them instructions isn't really going to help because you'll have to repeat it loads and loads of times. So give them their instructions on your first slide. I've told them it's going to be recorded. I told them what they need for the lesson. So it's a physics lesson, so they needed a calculator, a ruler, a pen, and some paper for doing some questions. I always give them a title just to help them organise themselves and so that they know what's coming up. And you can tell I'm a teach first teacher here, but I have a little do now. These can be pictures, whatever you normally do in your classroom, but just keep it really simple. And it's always something that would require an answer, so that they can participate in the lesson. Make sure you keep your slides simple with quite large font, because a lot of students will be joining from their phones, which is fine. They can easily join from their phones and join the chat on their phones, but the slides come up quite small when they're on their phones, so you want to make sure that the text is quite large. I mean, this helps in many ways, loads of different things anyway, but it's important to remember that the size of the phone is really small. This is up to you, but I always present slides from my desktop instead of presenting them within Teams. If you present them within Teams, you'll see that you can see the chat box at the side, and you can also see at the bottom the names of the students involved, and also if you're showing your video, it shows you and your face. And that's what our English department do, and they really like that. But for me, particularly as a science teacher, there's a couple of caveats to that. One is that the students can take control of your slides, unless you sort that out with your admin and you sort out behind who can take control, which is quite, you can do it, but it's quite frustrating, and you need to remember to set it up each time in the meeting settings. And also you can't see your mouse, so if you want to point at anything, it's really difficult. And you also can't come off presentation mode, so a lot of time I'll come off presentation mode and I'll start to draw on my slides, which is really useful when if you're showing how an equation is solved, or you want to draw something. So that's a really nice way to do it. And if you're doing that, you can join the chat on another device. So I have on my phone, I have the Teams app downloaded, and you can go into that, join the lesson, and you can monitor the students in that lesson. You can mute them, you can access the chat, and you can chat yourself. And it means that your slides remain as they are, and you can connect via whatever tablet you have or phone. So that's a really nice, useful way to do it. Another useful thing is to have a support buddy at the beginning of your lesson, or at the beginning when you're starting all your lessons, or if you have super large class sizes. That way, that buddy and that other teacher can help you with technical issues, and technical issues quite often arise. And it's usually things like the students can't see the slides, and if the students can't see the slides, really what they need to do is just come off the call and then join again. Sometimes it will be something a little bit bigger that they might need to restart their device, or they might need to download an update from Microsoft Teams. And if you're teaching, that's really difficult to help them do. So if you just have someone buddy in that can mute students, that can monitor it, can see who's coming on the chat, it's really useful. And it's especially important if you have massive class sizes. So I don't have a buddy in my classes because they tend to be a bit smaller. But the English lessons that we run can sometimes be 100 kids or more, and it's really important in that situation. It also means that you can kick kids out of the chat if they are misbehaving. So yeah, it's really useful to have a buddy, and it's also useful for safeguarding as well. Don't forget to record. At the beginning, I sometimes got maybe 5 minutes in and I realised I wasn't recording, and it's really important to record. We're going to talk a bit more about recording in a second, but I just wanted to show you my top tip for remembering to record is just to put this at the top of my slide. This lesson will be recorded in red, and it's for the students, but mainly it's also for me to remind me to hit record. Yeah, so that's a really nice way to do that. So I also wanted to talk a little bit about the assessment both for and of learning that you can actually do online. It's so difficult at the beginning to teach online because you think that you just want to talk and talk and talk about things, and it's so different from being in the classroom. But there's so many ways that you can assess during your lesson and afterwards. So for afterwards, Microsoft Forms is your friend. You can also use different websites and things. I know that at the beginning I used a lot of Seneca, and there's so many other ways that you can do it, but I wanted to specifically ask questions linked to the lessons that I done. So to do that, you can use Microsoft Forms. So I use Microsoft Forms for creating little surveys, and this is really nice, particularly at the beginning. I would ask the students for feedback on my lessons, and it really helped. You're probably realising this now, but I talk really fast, and it's so easy to do when you can't see someone else's face. So yeah, that was mainly my main feedback I got from the students, but also they'd say, oh, we want more of this, or, you know, we really enjoyed this, can you do it again? So that's super nice. You can also use them for your form classes to ask them about their well-being, and about loads of different stuff. You can also create quizzes. The quizzes that I like to create, as I mentioned before, are based on my lessons, but also for my year 7 and year 8 classes, I'll base those questions on the online lessons that they have with the teachers that teach for year 7 and 8. And it's a really nice way to just consolidate that learning, and it's quite interactive as well. The students can access the Microsoft Forms really easily. You just share a link and it's just their email and log on with their passwords and things. So it's a really nice way to do it. They can self-mark, so it's similar to like the same way that Google has it, and you could use Google if you like, but I like Microsoft Forms because it links it all in and it sort of contains it, and it's the same sort of system that we're using throughout. They're self-marking. You can do multiple choice questions, you can do short answer questions, you can also do long answer questions, you can do file uploads where they can upload pictures. It's a really nice way to do it, and it's a really nice way for them to get instant feedback. And also you can, at the end, or whenever you like, you can go on and grade students and give them feedback for overall and for each question, which is for a teacher is really useful. And yeah, it's a really nice way to do it, and you can share that with them, and you can post their grades and things like that at the end of the deadline. So that's really nice. I like Microsoft Forms. Another way I've been doing it is by questioning throughout using the chat function. I showed you an example of my first slide with my do now, and what I get them to do is I get them to type the answer and then hold on to it and don't press enter until I say. So when I'm ready to come on at 2 o'clock, and if they've been sitting for 5 minutes, they'll have their answer ready, but then they just hit enter, and that way you don't have students copying each other's answers, which is good. And it's a really nice way just to keep interactive throughout the lesson, just like you would do in class. And you'll find that a lot of the students that would be quite shy in class to put their hand up and answer that question will start answering on the chat. Another really cool way to do it is if a student writes an answer, you can get students to reply with an emoji to that answer. It just pops up at the side. It doesn't pop up with their name. You can say their name if you hover over it, but it doesn't flash up with their name. So you can get them to thumbs up, you can get them to heart it or something like that. And it's a really nice way for you to say, oh, if you agree with student X, Y, Z, pop up a reaction. And that way you get far more answers than you would if they were just typing their answers. It's a really nice way to keep interactive during the lesson, because I find with my students, at least, they're quite shy, most of them, at putting on their microphone and speaking. So the chat function is really useful. You will have students that do want to come off the microphone, and that's fine. You can get them to read out something on the slides. You can get them to explain to you how they got an answer. But that chat function just allows you to communicate and interact with everyone, and it's really nice. The next thing that I do is Kahoot. I used to do Kahoot sometimes at the end of my lessons in school, if we had access to the school iPads, but we can do this at the end of every lesson, and the students really like it. It's a little bit of fun for them to enjoy while at home, and yeah, it's educational. So I always do these at the last 5-10 minutes at the end of my lesson. These Kahoot, you can write your own questions. It's all free. You can write your own questions, or you can use the pre-made Kahoots that are already there, which are usually all right. I usually edit them a little bit so that they work for my students, but they love it. So this is what it looks like on your screen. You just share your desktop. So you share, or you share the web page that you're on with the question. There's a little timer at the side, and when the students they sign in, it's a little code that they put. Their phone will come, or whatever device that they're using will come up with this. And there's also instructions on how you can split screen if they don't have two devices to use to see the computer and to see their phone, so they can do split screen. And yeah, it's a really nice way for students to interact. They can put in nicknames, so they don't even need to have their real name, and it gives you feedback in real time on the sort of questions they're struggling with, and helps show you sort of instantly. You can explain, because there's a little time between each questions, what they got wrong, and it informs you what to do for your next lesson. It also gives you a little podium at the end of winners, and they love that, and you can give out house points or whatever from that, or speak to your head of year and tell them how well the students are getting on. The next thing I wanted to talk about was recording in your lessons. Just briefly, again, don't forget to record. It's so important that you record, because students can catch up, and even if they were in your lesson, it's really nice for them to go back and really consolidate their learning. And also, if they can't make it, we don't know the lives of every single student in our class and what's going on now, and they can access it whenever, and it's really, really nice to do that. I've gone over this, but notify everyone when you're recording. These videos will be automatically uploaded to Microsoft Stream, which is another Microsoft platform that you have within 365, and it's like a little YouTube for your school. You can trim the videos, and you can share company-wide, so that these videos are available to everyone in your school. You can also just keep them within your team, but I like to make them company-wide, so it's kind of a nice way of advertising to students that are not on your team to come and join a lesson. You can also create a channel, so this is all my videos here, but I like to have them on my Science Intervention channel because they're easier to access. It's like I said, it's like YouTube for your school. Another thing I've been doing is working with others in different departments, and this has been really useful throughout the crisis for helping us sort of collaborate and bounce off ideas off each other. So you can help educate each other, you can teach people how to use Microsoft Teams, and that's particularly if you're really tech savvy, and there's people that aren't. It's a really nice way to share your knowledge, to work on your TSA. And yeah, it's really nice because we now, after Easter, I have seen a massive increase in the amount of videos uploaded to MS Stream. And yeah, you can see like we do videos with Key Stage where we do competitions, and there's assemblies on there. It's really, really nice to see that. Yeah, to keep collaborating, because like I said, there'll be ideas that someone else knows that you don't know, and yeah, sharing it with each other is really nice. And it's also a really nice way to increase your learning, and it's like a little CPD really, where you can join and observe lessons, and that's helped me a lot. I jump onto the biology lessons taught by someone else, and I can really increase my subject knowledge and my subject pedagogy that way, and it's a really nice way to do it, because in school I wouldn't have actually had that opportunity just because the way the timetables were. So it's a really nice way to do that. But in particular, I've been able to jump on year 12 lessons, which is one of my development points. So it's a really, really cool way to do that. The last thing that I've been doing is probably my favourite thing, has been my career sessions that I've been running, and I've been able to do this really only because of the COVID crisis. So I've gotten in 5 different professionals that wouldn't have otherwise been able to come to our school. So this is Alex and this is Mel, and they're friends of mine, and they came on to speak about their careers in physics. Alex is an astrophysicist, and she's actually in California, so we definitely wouldn't have got to speak to Alex otherwise, particularly due to the time difference. And Mel, she's a data scientist, and it was super nice to speak to them. What we did is I interviewed them for about 10-20 minutes, and then the students had loads of questions that they popped into the chat that I facilitated the answering of, and it was really, really nice. Another thing that I'd done was also popped on an advertisement onto STEM Learning asking for physicists that would like to come and speak to my students, and that we got Brianna, she's a nuclear physicist, to come and speak to us, and we also got Katie, and they came to speak to us together, and that was really nice. And the kids had so many questions, and again, these are all recorded on MS Teams, so if they missed them they could catch up on them. We also were able to have a chat with a junior doctor, so this is actually my brother-in-law, and he just finished his medicine degree and was just about to start his new job, and he had about a week's time before that happened, and so luckily he was able to come and speak to us about his journey on becoming a doctor and about all the hints and tips he has about getting into medicine, and could also speak to the students about the recent crisis, and it was a really nice session. And the only way that this was able to happen was because of online learning, so there's definitely benefits. So I just wanted to end with saying thank you for watching all the way to the end. I hope this video was useful to you. If you do have any questions, you can find me on Twitter. Here's my handle, it's just @BeckyCoates. And I wanted to finish with saying how rewarding it's been online teaching. So this is a message from one of my students who said, "I'd just like to thank Becky Coates for her hard work and for giving us students the time of her day to make sure we are up to date with science, but also for making the lessons fun. It's much appreciated." And this isn't a one-off comment. After every single lesson, I have students thanking me for the lesson, saying that they enjoyed it, and that's something that really wouldn't have happened in school. And I think now the students sort of realise not to take their education for granted, and yeah, it's a really nice way to connect with your students and to build those relationships. So it's been something that's actually been really nice for me, and I've got to meet students that I didn't teach and I wouldn't have probably ever got to teach. So it's been super nice for building relationships, and I've really enjoyed it. And good luck to you for doing your lessons too.